the number 100, the 100th episode of the Morning Power Up Call. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. This has been a really interesting journey as we've gone through this, as we have started the very beginning with me sharing small insights, little pieces of guidance, little nuggets. We've been doing this throughout the entire time as we've updated new content. We've moved off to new platforms. We've updated content again. We've launched new features. The copywriting program has grown, changed, and evolved over these last 100 episodes. And the stuff that we've been able to talk about on these calls have evolved as well. Now that we moved over to a new platform, now that we've moved over to our own platform that we completely own from head to toe, I can talk to you guys about things that I couldn't talk to you guys about before. And today's episode is going to be one of those calls where I get to talk to you about things that I did not feel comfortable sharing when we were stuck on the other platform. So I'm going to check really quick and make sure that the audio is working. I am in a different location. I am out going and doing new things. And so I want to make sure that the audio is working in this different location and different setup. So let's check real quick. Looks good. It looks like the audio is working. So I can actually present my content today. So I want to tell you guys about a major advantage that I had when I was first starting out in copywriting that for a long time you guys had basically zero access to. It was something that gave me a huge competitive advantage over anyone else that was on the way up in copywriting way back in the day. And for a long time, I really didn't get to talk about this because it was very personal to me. And it was something that you guys couldn't replicate. But in today's, the way the program is today and the way things are set up with the new platform, you guys can, to a great degree, replicate this factor that was able to propel me to be successful quicker and help me avoid major roadblocks that would have taken someone else who's doing this by themselves completely years, where it took me a matter of months or weeks to go through certain stages of my growth as a copywriter. So let me talk a little bit about this. Now, I usually frame everything we do as humans, everything we do as copywriters, and everything we do in life is competition. It's all war. You're competing against other people for valuable things that you like. And while sometimes you're not like physically in the moment competing against them, but you're competing at training, right? So if you have two people that are preparing for a fight, they actually physically compete when you're in the ring, but they're also competing against each other for the 6 weeks or 6 months it takes to lead up to that fight, because they're trying to out-train, out-study, out-prepare their opponent. So by the time it comes time for competition, they can actually win. The same thing takes place with copywriters, right? Sure, you might compete on the day that you reach out to a client or that you launch a new program out into the world, right? But the real competition occurs every second of every day as you go through that. And I like to frame and I like to talk about what we do in terms of competition, in terms of war, because especially as young men, it helps you understand and it taps into that built-in hard wiring, that biological wiring that you have for war, for competition. And it allows you to bring greater resources to bear when you actually get ready to do the work. And the more competitive you are, the the faster you're able to progress and the faster you're able to succeed. The faster you grow, it allows you to tap into a greater sense of purpose. It's extremely important. And life truly, if you examine it, without the emotion, without any of the beliefs that have been thrown on you by other people, if you really look at what's going on, everything in life is a competition. Everything is a battle. It's either you against an obstacle or you against another person. It's all competition. Now, there are certain things that allow you to become more competitive. First off, obviously, like choosing your mindset, choosing to view the world as a competition is the first step to becoming more competitive and being more. And it's not just about being more competitive by nature, but being able to compete at a higher level, right? When I say competitive, I don't just mean someone who views everything as a competition is really intense. I mean someone who views everything as a competition and has the skill sets and the character attributes and the resources, the insights, and the correct move at that time to be the most competitive version of themselves. Now, there's a major factor that since the dawn of time has allowed men to become the most competitive and the most, and I mean that in its fullest sense, their fullest, to rise to their fullest and highest capacity. And it's something that's been used since forever. Like it's been used since the dawn of time. Every great movement in history, every great conqueror, every great Every great person since the dawn of time has used this principle to be more successful, right? To give them a greater competitive edge in the world that they're fighting in. And for a long time, I mean, I used it on my way up, in a big way. I still use it every single day with everything I'm pushing towards inside my life. I take advantage of this principle, and it was a huge part for me on my way up, especially with copywriting, especially when I was in your same position, moving up in the ranks of the world as far as becoming a good and successful copywriter. All right, I've done enough teasing, I've done enough intrigue. I'm going to tell you what this principle is. And this is actually something Tate talks about this quite a bit. And that is the idea of since the dawn of time, men have formed gangs. They have formed groups of small groups of men, and they have worked together to go out and defeat opponents or challenges out in the world, right? Back in the day, 4 or 5 guys would get together and go hunt, go kill the big buffalo, right? 4 or 5 guys would get together and they go to the raiding party, right? And it's grown since then. There's always in every single military since the dawn of time. There's been groups, there have been subgroups, there have been a hierarchical structure. There's been battalions and companies, and platoons and squads, right? But the real pageant, the real fire and the real magic happens on the squad level, on the fire team level. If you look at like the modern military structure, this is something I experienced in the military, right? Like as I went through boot camp and as I went through like military service, having a good squad, having a good section was extremely important for being successful and having a good time. Right? Not only did I feel better, but I was able to rise to higher levels of personal performance inside the military because of the effect of having other men around me who had a shared purpose and they were holding me accountable in some ways. Obviously, there's a huge amount of personal accountability. You can only be part of a high functioning group if you choose to be a high functioning man. But being part of a group, being part of a group of other men who are pushing forward, um, that gives you significantly higher motivation, right? It gives you the ability to do the work every time because not only, if you fail to do what you know you should do, not only are you letting yourself down, but you're letting your brothers down on either side. And that is a major, major motivating force or driving force inside of men is to not let their brothers down, right? If you're in the trenches, fight against the Nazis in World War II, right? Frozen force or wherever, you you don't want to die yourself, but you definitely don't want to be the reason your brother dies, right? So you don't want to be the one guy who's not giving his all when everyone else is. So it's a major source of motivation. It gives you a huge, huge ability to push through obstacles and to do the work, no matter whether you feel motivated or happy in the moment. You you can just rely on the fact that you have to do the work because you are part of this, right? It's huge, and it's something I had. I had close friends I was working with, and I knew that if I was slacking, they weren't, and I couldn't respect myself the same if I wasn't putting the same level of effort that they were. Right, so every time the urge came to slack, I was able to flip that around, like that into no, I need to do the work because my good friend 2 hours south of me is doing the work. My good friend over there in California, he's doing the work right now, and if I don't, I can't look him in the eyes. So it was a huge source of a drive for me to be successful and to show the group what I was made of, right? To show them, hey, look, guys, here's a win. I earned this because I did this. I was able to push through that because of this. Oh, and another thing that's really powerful about being inside of a group, if you were, let's play a game. I like to play this game in my mind. I like to imagine if it was me versus whatever other person, and we were dropped in like a square mile of wilderness, and we both had rifles. It was me versus them. Like, who would win? Like, who would be cunning enough to find the right position to set up? Who would be more proficient? Who would be cool? Like, who would be able to handle the stress? I like to like it's a game that's a filter I run in my mind to gauge my own abilities versus someone else's, just on a pure mental level. So that's let's play this game, but let's change it up a little bit, right? Instead of just me versus another person, let's put instead of one person, let's put a single individual. Let's imagine you. Let's imagine you're over there and you're going to fight against me. Like if it's you versus me, that's going to be a pretty difficult fight for basically everyone on this call. Is what it is, right? But let me tell you what would make it absolutely impossible for you. If it was you, and instead of just me, it was me and my 5 closest friends, my brothers. If it was the 5 of us versus you, not only would the numbers make it to where we would have overwhelming force when it comes to fighting you, but we would have greater insight into like there would be more sets of eyes looking at. We'd see you faster. We'd see perhaps better terrain. Maybe if I don't see it, my friend would see it. Maybe my friend would see that I'm in a bad position, or I'd see that he's in a bad position. We could call out and help it, right? again, just to illustrate this, if it was just me versus 5 or 6 of you, yeah, it'd still be a hard fight. But you guys would probably have an advantage just because you have more eyes looking at the problem, right? And that's one of the powerful things that happen when you work together on like the squad level is you can spot each other's vulnerabilities and you can help each other shore them up. From that third party perspective, it's so much easier to see what needs to be done than when you're living your own personal life. So having someone else's outside perspective that you trust helps you fix yourself. Plus, if there are 5 of you and you're all looking out for opportunities, the chance of missing an opportunity goes to almost zero, right? If it's just one of you, you can only look one place at a time. But if you have 5 people all looking for the good of the group, you have a huge advantage over the individual person who's just trying to look for himself. So not only do you get a much higher amount of motivation and drive to do the right thing in your life, but being in a squad helps you see new opportunities and helps you expose your weaknesses way faster than if you're isolated all by yourself. Now let's talk about this in terms of what you guys have now, right? Because I've talked about some general principles, and you definitely should apply these in your life across all aspects. We're going to be adding some additional levels of structure to the program, right? So within your Legion, which is a giant group, which has been very helpful for a lot of you guys to become more competitive and see greater options, we are going to add a substrata below legions. We're going to start adding platoons, right? So instead of just being a legion with thousands of people in it, you're going to have a platoon with as much smaller number. And I encourage you guys to form even smaller groups, and we're going to set up the infrastructure for this. We can form squads. We can communicate on the squad level. Because what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to experience that feeling of brotherhood, and it's going to give you that drive to perform well because you don't want to let down your guys. Plus, it will help you expose your own weaknesses faster. You'll be able to go through and figure out what's wrong with your copy faster. Someone else will be able to help you spot the errors in your outreach, the way you're doing your sales call. You'll be able to see ways that you can improve yourself that you wouldn't see if you were just by yourself with thousands of other people in the room. And it will also give you an opportunity for this small group for you guys to see and try new opportunities and test them out faster, even if you're just kind of isolated by yourself. We are at the stage now. We have the numbers, we have the platform, we have the things. We just need to lay in the infrastructure and set it up. We've got plenty of people that are ready to step up and take leadership roles on that level. But we are going to start implementing this, and it's going to allow you guys to succeed. Right? It's going to allow you guys to succeed better than anybody else out there in the world who's trying to do this by themselves. You will have a huge competitive advantage. They say that lone wolves survive, but the pack thrives. Small groups of men have always been the driving force of humanity, right? Small groups of men have always been the conquerors. Genghis Khan, it wasn't just him. He wasn't out there fighting every single battle. It was him and his small group of conquering heroes, his paladins, right? His generals, right? They worked together. They conquered. They rose up from the very, very bottom of Mongolia, conquered all of Mongolia, and then together, because they were such a powerful team, that drove each other to be successful. And Genghis Khan talked about this. He said how his friends, how these brothers of his, they brought him back from death. It's like, I was sad and you guys inspired me. It's like I was small and you guys inspired me to be greater. And that's the powerful thing that happens when you are part of a small group of men. These men, they went from conquering Mongolia to conquering China, conquering all of the Middle East, and going all the way from the Pacific Ocean to Poland. They conquered everything because they had a strong group of men, and they were the strongest group in the world. So they won. The same thing happens for you. If you can build a strong squad of guys around you, if you can take advantage of the structure that already exists, you can win at a level that most people can't imagine. It's a major way for you to improve your life that nobody else in the world has the opportunity to create the same way that you do. Right? Something to pay attention to with this. It's not like you show up to a group and because the group's there, you magically transform, right? It's not like just being part of a group is going to just magically do it. There's some people that exist in the world that no matter how great they are, if I plop them into my group of friends, they couldn't choose to rise to the occasion and they wouldn't be able to make it, right? They wouldn't be able to get the same benefit that I get out of it, right? And that's because with any kind of group, with any kind of network, with any kind of squad, with any kind of situation, it's never going to be perfect. Conditions are never perfect. The people are never perfect. But you always get out what you put in. If you want a lot out of the group, if you want a lot of the experience, you have to put a lot in, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of intense effort, a lot of caring, a lot of obsession. If you want to get that same level of transformative life skyrocketing effect on the back end. You have to be willing to put a lot in. So as you guys seek to do this, as you guys are in your legion right now, you get more like I have people every so often have someone mess, hey, I want to switch legion. I've heard this other legion's super great. I want to go to this other legion, which is always funny because everyone says the same thing about everything else. The grass is always greener on the other side. And I always tell these people, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to switch your legion. You're assigned your legion. You choose to get out of your group what you're going to put in. If you don't like something about your legion, if you feel like it's whatever, it's up to you as the individual to take ownership of that and find a way to make a positive impact by yourself. Leadership doesn't just happen at the top; it happens everywhere, right? And especially if you feel a true sense of brotherhood for the guys that you're with, you'll find a way to rise up, put a lot of time and energy in, and you'll be rewarded magnificently on the back end, right? So those of you guys who are inside of a legion now, take advantage of the structure. For those of you guys who are working through the boot camp, find your fellow students in there, work together. Find somebody in there, be like, hey man, if I don't post in the next chat tomorrow, like I know that you'll know, and that's going to mean a lot to me. So like, let's not do that. You find a couple guys that say, hey, I'm going to tag you every time I post my copy review because I want you to review my copy and I'll review yours. If you start building those bonds as you go through the boot camp, and then once you get into the legion, start using this. I'm telling you, my friend, that the people who do this most successfully inside of this program are the ones who win. And we have the infrastructure, we have the platform, we have everything we need to make this an amazing experience and allow you guys to tap into that powerful cheat code to life. So I want you guys to all reflect upon these principles today. I want you guys to reflect upon them, think about how you've used them in the past, how you can use them better in the future, and how you can start right now to start building this better. Think of the people inside the program that you have a good relationship already with, and start finding ways to. And again, we don't have DMs built in. That's okay. We might not. I think they're in the works, but find a way to talk with them. You can talk with them out and in the public, off topic or general chat. You can do this. Talk with them. Form mutually beneficial groups, mutually beneficial squad relationships. And we'll put the actual physical, like the technical structure in for the platform soon. But form groups of people and start using the ability to hold each other accountable, to find new insights, to help review your stuff, and see new opportunities. And you will see yourself progress towards making money, that first money much faster. Plus, you'll be set up for all the next levels that come after that, right? A lot of guys message me about copywriting. They're like, is it scalable? What's the future, right? Like, is it just, like people think it's just to make a couple $1,000, right, from clients? That is just the first step, right? Copywriting is about setting you up for business, right? How do you make $1 million as a copywriter? It's not by trading your time for a fee, right? It's not by being a freelancer. It's by owning it's by owning part of the business, by being such a valued person on their team that they say, hey, dude, we want to give you what you're worth. Like, we're going to give you 30% of the profit on this one, right? Like, that's the kind of place where you start making a lot of money. Or you do the same thing, but you create an agency where you start directing and working with other people who perform the actual writing. And you do it at a high scale instead of with like 4 or 5 clients, you do 40 or 50 clients. That is what happens after you make those first wins. You're set up to be able to do those so much better if you have those strong relationships that you started with 4 or 5 guys where you're working together to hold each other accountable, find new opportunities, and to expose your weaknesses that you might not normally see. I'm telling you guys, this is a special opportunity for you guys to take advantage of this. Most people in the world go through the world completely isolated. The world is designed to isolate people. It's designed to put people in small little bubbles where they're all by themselves and they feel alone. Because when you're by yourself, you're easy to control, right? If you want to rise above the overwhelming flow of programming that is trying to keep you poor, broke, sad, and lonely, you need the power of a group. If you can get 3 or 4 guys beside you, you become invincible to everything that's trying to keep you going. I know firsthand. Like I said, I had this and I took advantage of this to the hilt when I was on my way up. And I know that if you do the same thing, you'll see some results in your life. You'll see that same transformative growth. It will feel like you have risen above everything else in the world to a new level, right? You'll be above all the normal, benign stuff that goes on in your life, and you'll be above it all because you have you and your guys. And you'll be able to win and conquer because you're playing at a higher level. So go forth and do so inside of the program. Use these ideas. Use this inside of your legion. Use this as you're going through the beginner chats. It might be difficult, and again, no group is perfect. You might start out, you might have problems, ups and downs. That's the name of the game. Go use this principle. Want to transform your life. Take advantage of the advantage you have in this program that no one else does. Put your time and energy into it and get it back. This has been a good call. This has been a fun one. I like number 100. This one's probably probably going to get recorded and might get slapped into boot camp at some point. We're going to continue to go through this. I'm going to continue to answer all the questions you asked Professor Andrew channel. It's going to take me a minute to catch up because there's a lot of them in there that I need to get to. I'm going to get those all answered today. Start adding new things in the boot camp. We're going to get the structure laid out. We're going to start adding platoons in. I'll be talking with Legion commanders to get this dialed in probably before the weekend. So that being said, I will talk with you guys again tomorrow for episode 101. You guys take care. Have a good day. Use these ideas. Success.